little world of YouTube. It's Archie again. This is Missing for 31 Years, Part 10. This might, and I say might be the last video I do. I don't know, I have a couple other things and ideas that I might want to do before I completely shut this down. One of them is I might do it anyways, would be going over other information other than this newspaper article. All my thoughts and theories on this have been, and all my videos have gone based on this newspaper article right here. You see, like the show for probably the last time, but other than that, going over all the points of interest of where we've traveled, where we've been. Like Christine Street was the first place, and I want to go over some, a little bit of stuff and mistakes that I have made throughout some of my videos. Also, I like to put out there, because I did state some things that in my last video I did, but I mean, there was like one part where I said I never heard of DSS. There was never DSS, never exists. I was wrong about that, and I forgot to mention that, I think, in that Route 31 video. Excuse me. And DSS was involved in that case of Clarence stabbing him through, driving through that whole horrifying ordeal. And DSS, before that all happened, and I don't know what was the breakup between them. Like I say, don't know much of the story, only what was put in the article, but what made them break up, I don't know. But DSS did give Clarence Dean, as it says in that article. I didn't put it in there because I wasn't thinking of it at the time, but it was visitation rights. So DSS did exist, but the thing of it is why I don't and never heard of DSS is for the simple fact that never was involved with them, and they weren't as strict, back then as they were today. And we all know of anybody who was involved with DSS. Now it's called DCF in my neighborhood. Changed the name again for what reasons, but like I say, they weren't as strict. They existed, they weren't as strict, and that was one mistake I did. I mean, I did make a mistake at the dump of saying that like I said in my last video, I know Clarence Dean this, or they know Clarence Dean did that. I don't know nothing Clarence Dean did or said. I goofed up on some things or facts of that. I mean, going over that stuff I messed up on because of the simple fact, because I only went over a newspaper article. Everything that I obtained out of here, I put it in my videos because these are questions that need to be answered. And the Route 31 thing was a big ordeal in this, and I'm glad I put it up. I'm glad I found it. Like I said, it not being in here, and I mean, yeah, you got an article here saying that she was kidnapped, stabbed, but why? And this whole story, to me, like I said in the beginning, but things have changed also from the beginning, because of course finding other stuff. Everything I started in the beginning, I know it. I mean, what I said, you can't change it, but I mean, at least I went over it all and figured it out. Because yeah, it needed to be done. When I started this, I didn't know where it was going to take me. I wouldn't even know where it was going to lead to. I mean, like I said, I made mistakes talking to Detective Abishon about the 1.5 hour time frame, which there wasn't an hour and a half. It led up to 4.5, almost 5 hours that Dean could dispose of a body. But I do not change the fact that he is in the last video of the set of woods I think he's in, because he had to have pre-dug the hole, did this all, prior to when he was going to make an amends with the boy, as the newspaper article says. He wanted all making amends, but he also wanted to get rid of him. This story is pure obsession. And jealousy is right. Two words, and key words in this case to me. Yeah, Taj was in the way, and I don't know why a man would come in and rip a mother bond apart like that. I mean, that's just unnatural in the first place. And if that was overlooked when this case was open, and it says it here, and in this newspaper article that he was jealous, called him the White King, meaning maybe the White King of his wife. I don't know, but whatever they had together, him and her, Annette and Clarence, and Annette and her son, led to this, is what I think. It led to this crazy, obsession that led to murder and attempted murder. But Clarence Dean wasn't going to kill a woman that he wanted, because he would have already done it if he was going to do it, because she wouldn't be alive today. That's what I think. I also say in other videos, like I say, Annette, she was blind to all this. I mean, it says in that Commonwealth versus Clarence Dean that they were together for 3 years. The newspaper article here says 2. And I mean, yeah, I mean, so there's an extra year that was misplaced. I mean, and then, and it was like they jumped into this relationship like some people do. Don't know the other half, don't know the other half of the person, don't know the other side of the river, don't know if the bridge is safe to cross through a mind sick and demented as this man. And like I said, I've met people like this guy. I've lived with people like this guy. My older brother, I'm not trying to rag on him or nothing. I mean, he has done things to me in the past that I don't like, but we've also had a bond ourselves, but he is a creator of mischief. And like I said, in probably another video, I'll bring it up again, because it gets, lost in conversations and listening to more videos. But yeah, he's the type of dude that will tell you to your face that everybody wants to party with Artie. I mean, and he is Clarence Dean's age about. And they grew up in the same time era. And seeing my brother's history with women and this guy's history, they're almost identical. I mean, not too long ago, last year, my brother went to jail. It was, I can't hide past to my family, but he smacked around a hooker that he was living with or staying with and went to jail for it. It's crazy stuff, but hey, it's the time era that they lived in is why their minds were all messed up. And back in the day, everything was hidden in the closet, locked away with the skeletons, and right, everything was just never ever spoke of. If there was something dark secret in a family back then, it stayed a dark secret. Nowadays, it just comes out, poof, it blows up in your face. It's like I found out things about my parents and family that are just, entirely insane to even think of right now. And that's why I relate to this story, because I know Taj, grew up in a brutal situation like me. Unlike him, like I say, I mean, one more time, I'll show this picture. What you see and I see, and they say a picture says 1,000 words. I see humble, peaceful, a kid that just wants to be a kid. There's not a stretch of evil in this kid's face. There is not 1 ounce of evil I can see right there in my experience of briefly encounter with him. There's no evil in this kid, none at all, none. It's just not there. And for him to come out with, the runaway note is just even more colder than what the case is. A cold case. And I don't want to live here with anybody anymore. And I don't want to, listen to nobody anymore. Pretty much is what he said. And I mean, that's just cold-hearted. This kid very cold-hearted. The only one cold-hearted in the household at the time, Clarence Dean. So I mean, bringing you through the back roads, bringing you through all this place of interest, like I said, is just, to me, I don't think you would want to go that far. The dump, maybe. And like I said, that ain't a way to back off from this and say, there's no chance in hell they're going to find them in the dump, because they will. A year's time of rubbish back then, of course, ain't a year's time of rubbish today. Populations grew. You can look that up on the internet. That's another thing I messed up on. I said that Route 2 was behind us at the dump. It wasn't Route 2. I mean, well, it is, but it's more or less I-90 to Worcester. I mean, the highway and the off-ramp, or the connector, they call it. But all that runs right to the dump and everything. And I mean, if you want to take a look your own self, if you're a local and you know of it, you know of it. But if you drive by it and you're not a local, you will get off that connector and you will see how long the dump is, and it ain't that long. Quarter of a mile the most, maybe a little less, hey. And like I said, when I showed you that video too, I forgot to mention that you see how sunk down the ground was from the hill behind me. It's the grass. And I know I got a good feeling of why I never got a call back from the city hall and all that. So, but I know that area that they built on had to been the entranceway with the scale house, any dumpsters or trucks that they had, the dozers to sit. That's why it got dug up there and built on first, because there was no hazardous waste in there to be burned out with gas. That's why it was so low. But if they dug that low, which I think they did, because when I remember before they built there, that was all a big hill. And it did go up that high if you ever run across it. I should have did a run across it, but I didn't, like I said, not enough time. I'm lucky to get videos out as much as I did due to my family of 4 and the hectic schedule I have of trying to find work. But I mean, like I said, this might be my last, but I don't think I might do the what I wanted to do. There was another thing, but whatever's on the internet that I can find, I'm gonna jot it down, I'm gonna write it, and then I'm gonna go over it and see what other things have said of this story, rather than just this newspaper article. Because like I said, I wanted to do this first just to give you a hint of what I think, of course. And if I came up with 10, not 10, but how much, I'd say at least 5 videos. The first 3, well, the intros, my thoughts, my theories, then you got part 3 of my thoughts and theories, or 2. And then I read this story, part 1 and part 2, Yeah, I mean, if you go through them, if you're not bored of it already or whatnot, you don't want to listen to me jibber jabber, but to see how much I had back then of information and information now, I could say, yeah, you got all this info that has piled in before then. Like I said, there's so many questions to be answered, and they're not all going to be answered until this body's found. And that is where he's buried, where he put him in. Will Clarence Dean ever, come forth and just tell us? And that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm giving Bridgewater a call, and I'm going to see what I can do. If I can't, well, whatever, I can't, because of the simple fact that if I can't, I can't. But I mean, that set of woods of the last video, I mean, I got almost a good gut wrenching feeling like a detective would have if he's in there because of the encounter at the motel and seeing that sign of what's actually in them woods now. That's, hey, freaky. I'm even getting ready right now to see if I can get a hold of the Long Island Medium, which is the one on there with the Jersey Shore lady that does all this ghost and this and that, and I'd love to see if I can even maybe get her, because I'm not a psychic. Alright, I already said it, and I'm not a detective, but watching, you know, the true story stuff like her, or back in the day watching detective movies, and you know, sometimes there's movies and TV shows, hey, you gotta admit they got good, you know, writing to it and scripts, and it's almost real. I mean, they come up with some good stuff, and I mean, pretty much I've learned from a television show, and I mean, you can't get me wrong, because I mean, I think like a detective. I've always been fascinated with detective work, because yeah, you got something like this, nothing to go on, but when a gut instinct comes in, and that's what they used to do back in the olden days. They didn't have forensic files or nothing, and sometimes, hey, it came and worked. That's what I'm going on here. I mean, it could be a flop. If this does flop, hey, if nothing's found, all I can say is I'm glad that I got this out for the world to see. Not just locals in the town that are probably sitting there saying to their own selves, you know, oh, it's 31 years, no one's doing nothing. Well, maybe if Detective Arbitron gets help now by some free organization or something, hey, get out there and look, you know, and I'll relate this story with something, you know, if it fails, of a failure thing, you know, they had that in the late 80s there, whatever it was in the 80s. They had that, the vaults of Al Capone. And they were looking in the buildings where he actually, you know, did his crime sprees, ran his multi-million, you know, whatever he was, the moonshine company, whatever he was doing, gambling and moonshine, everything the gangsters did back then. You know, they got disappointed, of course, and it was said that it, you know, crashed Geraldo's, you know, career. But you know what? I don't think it should affect anything, because my thoughts and theories on that thing, you know, here's a gangster with a lot of money. Back then, I don't know what he's worth, but he goes to jail, gets sick and died. You know, from what I've learned on the street from gangsters themselves, when the big boss goes down, second command takes over. And I'm damn for sure that the second command took all whatever was in there and bailed. I mean, it's only common sense. You don't leave it in the building that's hot. You don't, I'm sure the thing got raided. It used to get raided back then too. Raids are raids, you know, and why would they leave it there? And Al Capone sat his ass in jail and lived off his money. I'm sure his canteen was filled nice until he passed away. He got a sickness and died. Died the lucky way, you know. He didn't die of no electric chair or anything. Took lives and everything. And hey, but yeah, second command, whatever's left over, it's probably still being funded. And they, you know, it's still going through the streets right now to this day. And to say Geraldo lost his career of this, you know, it's just like this. Clarence Dean hit a body. Smart, not too smart, but hey, you can't find it. I mean, there could be nobody could have put it, you know, I don't know what to say about that, but when there's something there and there's something like that happened to me, you know, I ain't even gonna go and worry about a career like Geraldo and the vaults of Al Capone. You know, I think this kid is close to being found. I think what was happened to me was real, as real as it can get. And you know, I got the number here I want to give out in case anybody wants to help, or if anybody thinks they have any information I mean, I'm coming forth. I've led to almost, alright, I put out 10 videos on this. Alright, just to put it out there. And, you know, I just opened this up last year. I mean, and it, I mean, not just because I might have known him, it's sickening how every day goes by. I just cut out another article of another child molester, and it's getting sick, man. And missing kids, and another Amber Alert. Amber Alert went out the day I did my video at the motel there, the day before, and you know, it's gotta stop. Kids, innocent, you know, fragile eggshell minds being destroyed. It makes me sick. I look at my kids every day, even though they put me through hell of a parent like any normal kid will, and I'm yelling at them constantly to behave, but I look at them as every day, there's one day they could end up missing. Take what you got for granted. I mean, I've come a long way from my alcoholism of 17 years, and now I'm just one of them dads that I quit cold turkey. Didn't need it. Just look at my kids. It's all. I don't need no higher power. I don't need no AA meetings. I got 4 kids to take care of. And I mean, I would do the same for them as I'm doing for Taj here. And like I said, you know, hey, I could have still been friends with him. And to see him, you know, gone and whatnot, and still gone, and opening up this, you know, paper and looking at the picture the same way I did as a kid, and getting that same feeling. It's freaky, it's spooky, but man, I could just go on all day about this. But if you want to give a call to Detective Arbitron, you got the number here, 978-534-7560, extension 345. I mean, any serious calls, please, no, you know, harassment calls. But if any like free organization that can help them search a little bit the 2 woods that I have laid out in my videos, I would like to see it happen. I'd like to help if I can, if I got the time. But I mean, I want this to be worldwide now. It's been local too long, 31 years. And but at least we know, like Detective Arbitron says in this article, all in the end of the end is that we just want to find Taj, bring him home, bring him to his right burial. Not living out in the woods lingoing like a ghost. I mean, I can imagine the fear of a kid getting tormented like him, beaten like him. It don't say he got beaten in the article, but I know he got beaten, because back in my days, I already said it. You either got a yardstick, you got a switch stick, you got all kinds of, you know, coat hangers, anything a parent would grab back in our day, boy, or even the almighty hand, you got it. That's it. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if anybody don't believe he's where I believe he is and all this, but hey, I'm putting this story out. And I think the next video I am definitely going to be doing, I don't know when I'll have it up, because like I said, I have no work truck, and my cable might be getting shut off soon, because I ain't been making no money, the bills are behind. But like I say, I'm going to have that video next. It's going to be going over. I'm going to see if I can get it out as soon as I can, like I've been doing this whole story, because 31 years too long. But if you want to look up the stuff that I already looked up, I mean, Clarence Dean versus the Commonwealth, and I mean, it's all up there, and other stuff I'm going to be looking up myself, and I'll be going over another video, like I said. And I said I'm going to try and maybe get an interview with Clarence Dean himself. I don't know how that's going to fly, but I'm going to give it a shot. I don't care, you know. But other than that, I think I've gotten out what I needed to get out. This maze of Clarence Dean needs to end, and another missing kid needs to come home. Until the next video, YouTube. This is Achi. See ya.